Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So this is part 2 of sorting out this little telehandler. So in last week's video, I got it all dismantled, and then I got that pin line board and that line board and the new bushes put in. So now we have the headstock to sort out, there's that to sort out, bushes to change in that, the ram to sort out, and then the ram at the back for the self-leveling to do as well. I've already got the bearings tacked on the headstock. I just use the centering cones to centre off there. Got them tacked on, that on the end. And then I've also got this bit of plate tacked on. I've been through them holes with a die grinder and cleaned them up, but because they're only 40mm holes, they're too small to bar weld with the S-Power machine. So the reason I've tacked this plate on is so I can use this like standalone bar welding machine. So that's on like a magnetic base that'll stick onto that bit of plate that I've tacked on, and then this is supposed to be good for down to bar welding 30mm holes, so it should easily do these 40mm holes. So I think I'll tip this headstock on its end, and then I'm not working against gravity. I can just sit it on there, line it up where I need it, and then I'm not trying to fight with it to get it lined up and it dropping off or what have you. So I'll tip that on its side and get the bar welder set up on there. So I've run into a bit of an issue with this touching on there. So a bit of plate sort of needs to be out here rather than out there. And then it'll clear that. Obviously I can't chop any of that off or do anything with that, so I'm gonna have to reorganise my bit of plate. Right, so I've had a bit of a rejig. So now we have got the headstock fastened or clamped to my bench. That's the headstock there, it's sat on an axle stand, and then I've got these big squares off the side of my bench, and I've got this bit of box section across there onto that other square, and then I've got this bit of plate that I had before tacked onto there, now tacked onto that bit of box section, and then the magnet is stuck onto that, and now there's plenty of clearance around there. Reaches right down into that bottom hole, so I just need to set that up now, get the wire put through, put the shroud on, and then I can weld that round. Now the reason I'm using this is I can't physically reach in there to weld that round by hand. It's just this bit I'd really struggle to get in with a torch. No doubt people will comment saying, why don't you use a stick welder, reach in with this stick, but I've got this, so I might as well use it, and I'm not very experienced with the stick welder anyway, so I'm better off using this. Right, we've got this all set up now, so I've got the torch connected up and the wire in, and should be ready to go. And I've got it connected up to the little jasik. It should be central, I think. It's not easy to centralise it, but I think it's near enough central. And we're set up in that bottom hole, so it should be good to go. I'm not quite sure what speed I need to be going. I'm going to set on 21 at the moment. I don't use it enough to know what speed it should be doing, but set it going at that and see what it's like, and then I can speed it up or slow it down. Last time I used that gas shroud, it was struggling to cover the weld properly with gas and it was bubbling, but I've got a real short tip in there, so hopefully the tip will be inside like the gas coverage. I've got the bottom hole welded up. I don't know how successful that'll be. It looked like there's quite a bit of porosity in it. I don't know if it's gas coverage or what, but anyway. On to the next one up, see how that goes. Right, that's the second one done as well. Again, I don't know how successful that was because it did look like there was quite a bit of porosity as it was welding up. But yeah, I need to bar that back through now. Trouble is now the hole is smaller than 35mm, so I can't fit my barring bar in the hole. On the last week's video, some people did comment saying like if I could fasten like a rotor brooch, like a mag drill to the end of my barring bar and then use that to drill the hole out to like 36mm first, and then the barring bar would fit through then, which is a good idea. I could drill the end of that out to put a mag drill cutter in there, and then I could use that grub screw there to hold it in. That's on 35mm bar. Or I do have this smaller bar which is already drilled out for a cutter, and then it's sort of set up for the mag drill at the other end. I was going to use that for a little line boring job. I can't do that at the moment because my lathe's not working still, so I can't accurately drill a hole in the middle of that. But then this is the wrong size for the bearings. So I might be able to clamp another bearing onto there somehow, and then the mag drill might sit on the top of that, and then I could use that to drill through. I could do the first one with that, and then the mag drill wouldn't have enough travel to do the second one. I could really do with getting my lathe up and running, but I just need to get this done. I haven't got time to be doing that. Right, I've just been to get a fresh motor for my lathe, a new one. So this is, it's a 132. That's like the size of it, or the frame. That's what I'm looking for, the frame. But this is an M, where that one was an S. So that one, that's the old one. It's slightly shorter. Yeah, but it's still the same size. That one's a 7.5 kilowatt 4-pole, so it runs at 1410 RPM, 50 hertz. This one is 7.5 kilowatt 440 RPM. It's just still a 4-pole and 50 hertz, so that's should fit. The thing with this one is it's cast iron, well, that one's aluminium, so this one weighs 80 kilos, so it's going to be very difficult for me to lift it in by myself. Get it lifted in around the back of there and then into the lathe. I don't really want to move the lathe because it's sort of set up how it is, so it might be a 2-man operation doing that. So until I get the motor put on my lathe, I'm just going to have a go at see if I can die grind these out with a long die grinding bit to get them out big enough for the bar to fit through. Should be able to do that one. It's just whether I can reach in to get enough out the bottom one, because the die grinder jams up in the bearing. Right, I'm not going to do that. It's just going to drive me mad because it just keeps spinning around in the hole. Right, I finally got that motor mounted on the lathe. It was pretty difficult, and then because it's bigger than the old one, where the pivot is, where it mounts on for like the belt tensioner wouldn't fit, so then I had to alter that. Anyway, it's on now and it works, and believe it or not, it actually goes the right way around the first time. So that's fixed and up and running again now, so we can get back on with what I was doing. So I've just got a 36mm cutter. So what I want to do now is put this in the lathe and just drill a hole in the end of there for this to go in, and then I can use that grub screw hole that's already there. I'll just have to have one grub screw to hold it in, and then that should do that. And I can put the bar through the hole, fasten the cutter in, and then use that to drill through them holes. Mint. Now that fits in the end of there now, and then put a grub screw in there to hold that in. So we'll take this back off here because that bearing's on that end and that's the one I need at the top. So I'll lay it back down on my tines and then see if we can get them drilled through with that. Then once we're through with that, then we can put the tool in and line bar as normal then. We're all set up to have a go at cutting through there now. You can see the weld isn't very nice from this side. Yeah, hopefully that'll cut through there. That bearing's nice and tight. That's all set up. That one might, well, don't know, might chatter a bit, but I don't know. See, hopefully it should do it. Right, that's through that side. The weld is not very nice in there. There's quite a lot of porosity in it. Yeah, we'll have to find a shorter grub screw now to go in there and then do the same with that one. And then I can get a tool in my bar and bore it through. Right, that worked pretty well, that. Good idea. Thanks to whoever, I can't remember who, well, a couple of people put it in the comments actually about fastening a cutter to the end. I might come up with the idea myself eventually, but yeah, that's worked well. So I bored through that one. I'm just starting on this one now. So I've got the tool sticking out 4mm, well, 2mm past the bar, 4mm overall. So that should get me out. Should get the hole out to 44mm. I just don't know what it's going to be like for the porosity in the weld. I might have to redo it. It's nearly through. Can't be far off. There we go. I'm trying this. I'll do that. Right, that's what's that? The second pass. Yeah, the one pass that way and the one pass back that way. We should be out to size now. I'm just going to take the tool out, pull the bar out, and see what the holes look like. See how much porosity there is now. If it's all right, then I might put the tool back in and try and clean that up. If not, I'll just do that with a grinder. Same on there. Well, size-wise, we're about bang on. I wanted 40, we've got 40.02. The holes are not great. I don't really know what to think of them. Well, I know what to think of them, but I just don't know whether it's worth cutting them out and redoing them, and I might end up with them the same again. I think I need to make a better, or I need like a gas diffuser or something in the end of the torch, because it just doesn't seem to get the gas coverage at all. I'll clean up the ends and then I'll decide. Or I'll clean up them bits, see what I think. Right, I've got them finished, but I think I'm going to have to bore them out and re-weld them. I can't send that out and be happy with that. There's just too much porosity in there. It's everywhere. Right, I've cut all that back out again then, so back down to bare metal. And try again. One day I might be good at this. Right, we're back, set up for another go. So I've done a bit different this time. I've turned this around so it's pointing the opposite way on there, and then I've wound that. Well, so this is central with the holes, but then I've wound that back the other way, so that is going around offset. So it's giving me more space in there, so I can put a longer gas shroud on. And also because the hole's bigger now, because I've bought it out bigger, it gives me more space to work. So that should give me better gas coverage. So I think we're good to go again now. That should be about at the bottom of that hole. And I'll maybe turn the gas down a little bit as well. So I've got the gas set at about 11 litres a minute. Before I'd turned it up, it was like 20. And I think that was maybe too much. So we'll try it at 11. Yeah, we'll give that a try and hopefully it comes out better this time. Right, so that's done them. I think we've had success this time. It ran out of travel when it got, well, I've moved it now, but it got up to the top and ran out of travel before it fully finished that hole. I tried to carry on, but it sort of wasn't quite central again. So rather than trying to recenter it all, I'll just do that last run of weld by hand. Yeah, take that off now because I think that's all right. The bottom of that hole doesn't look great. So that might need a bit of hand welding just round the bottom side. But other than that, it looked a lot less porosity this time. I think I'll throw that little gas shroud away and then I don't use it again because problems before, and I'm expecting the results to be different using the same thing. So yeah. So I've just been around them, hand welded around the ends, so that's them ready to go. So you've already seen me do it once, so I won't show you again. I'll just show you once it's done. So with the power of magic. Right, there we are. That's sorted then. That's a lot better now. There's no porosity at all in there. It's not the smoothest, but it's, yeah, no porosity. I'm a lot happier with that. It does measure slightly small, but I can use the buffing wheel, the sanding wheel, just to buff the last few bits out. I didn't want the pin slack. Well, this is actually the second time I've done it. After it was full of porosity, I cut it out again, re-welded it, and then re-barred it. But then when I measured it, it measured 40.2, which was too slack. So then I had to bar it out again, re-weld it, and now we're slightly undersized. So this is the third time lucky. Because you just can't get into measure these little bars, that's the trouble. I thought I'd got the tool height set bang on with this thing, same as what I did with that other hole on there, which was bang on, but it was just 0.2 of a mil over for some reason, so I had to do it again. But anyway, now it is right. So yeah, I'll take them bearings off now. I'll take that off and then see about setting up to do this one. At least that one's 50 mil, so hopefully I can bar weld that one with the S-Power. But I just want them smoothing off a bit. I did face them off, but still I could have gone a bit wider with the tool. And then just once that drilling through for the pin. But yeah, I'll get everything taken off and then we'll sort that out. that's everything off now, just needs them bits grinding up. I've just gone through the hole with that, and I'd say that pin is absolutely perfect now. It's sort of a light tap fit. Which I'd say it's about right. Yeah, I think it's all right, don't want to be any slacker. And then them holes are bang on now. No porosity in them. You know, pleased with that. That's right. We're set up on that hole now. Bearing welded on there. That was a support. That bearing on there, and then that has a bit of a support. The gap is quite big from there to there, but there isn't anywhere else I can really put a bearing because of this slot. And then I've got this one mounted on the end for the mess power to bolt onto, using a 35mm bar again because it's 50mm hole and the other bar's a 50mm bar, so I won't be able to use that. I'm hoping I can bar it out, and then if I take this bearing off, then I can get my bar welder in and hopefully bar weld round them. Oh. I've just changed from that tool onto like a right-handed tool. It seems to be chattering as much now. Still chattering a little bit. It's a bit far apart from the bearings. Right, I've cut through all of that then. So it didn't cut very nice at all, it was real chattery. But I was taking quite a big cut just to get rid of it. So I have some new inserts coming as well. I've got some inserts off Bari, who does like line boring stuff. So hopefully they'll be better. But yeah, I'll take the bar out now, put the, I'll have to take that bearing off, and then put the bar welder in and set that up, ready to weld them round. Right, that's gone not too bad. It's welded up. I've got 50mm in there, 50mm in there, and then I've just run out of wire on sort of the last half a run. So rather than thread all the wire back through here again, I'll just hand weld that last bit up, I think. Saves me having to thread it all through just to do that bit, to then thread it all back out again. So I'm just line barring these back through now. I've been having a huge problem with chatter, so I've just put that other bearing on there, and that seems to have helped a lot. It's just far too far between there and there for the bearings for this size boring bar. Yeah, that's definitely better than it was. For the last like 2 cuts, I'll do 2 real fine cuts, and then I shouldn't suffer with chatter as much. It's chattering a bit now, but it's just doing quite a big cut, rough cut to remove quite a bit of weld. Yeah, that bearing has made loads of difference. I'm cutting through here now, and there's no chatter at all hardly. One more cut to do on here now, so I've just measured it with my spring calipers, and they measure 49.37 on them and 49.36 on them. So that means I need to move the tool out 0.63 of a millimetre, or that's the difference, so the hole needs to be 0.63 of a millimetre bigger, so I need half that and move the tool out half of that. I think I'll use my trusty mole grips that clamp onto the bar with a dial gauge on it, and then I'll also compare it with that tool and see what it measures like in comparison to that, and then that should get me out to bang on 50mm. The pin measures, pin's over there, the pin measures 49.95. So 1 0 before, no 3. That should be bang on. Yeah, according to that, tool height measures bang on 15, which should be right. So 15 plus 35 is 50. So yeah, run that through, and then that should be our last pass. So I've got all the bearings moved and everything, just all the welds ground off and everything, and then I've drilled through them for them pins for the bolt to go through, and then that's that top one that I've just done. I actually did that with my old inserts, my new ones haven't come yet, so once I've got that second bearing on, it cut all right. Oh, that other bearing that was in there. Here you can see down in there is 50mm sort of either side of that bit, and then it's drilled through as well for the bolt, and that pin fits nicely in there. That's nice and tight, there's no play in that now. A lot better than it was. So yeah, that is that headstock sorted. Just needs cleaning up and a bit of paint putting on where I've ground up paint off. But there's no point putting that back on yet, because it'd be easier putting this bit in here first before I put the actual headstock back on. Which that bit is this bit here. So I think I'll sort this bit out now, You can see the remains of the old bushes still in there, but I don't know. I haven't measured the hole to see whether the hole's worn or not. And then there's also this bit here. That should be alright, just press them old bushes out, put the new ones in. And then I think the end of the ram is probably worn as well. I'll get this bit started first, see what needs doing with this. So I can see down back of there, that's worn, so that bush is just gonna oval straight away. So that needs sorting. I'm guessing the other side will be the same. We'll turn it over and see what the other side's like. That was what came out. I've just spoke to the dealer, and a new one of them is £405 plus VAT. But I can repair this one cheaper than £405, so probably sit it on the mill and either drill it and ream it through and then put a bush in it and then make it so the bush fits that, because I don't think I'll want to weld it. Chances are it'll probably go quite hard if I try and weld it, so best bet is probably put a sleeve in it and then the bush will fit into a sleeve. I've just had a look at this as well, and I have an awful feeling that bush might not be round, which would mean the hole that it goes in is not round. Does that measure like 42mm that way? It's supposed to be a 40mm pin, and then when you measure that way, that measures nearly 40mm. So yeah, I'm guessing that's not round either. I'll press them bushes out now, see what that's like, and then that might need some treatment as well. I was hoping the new bushes were just going to go straight in that, but they maybe won't. I don't want to press out them. I know my press is only tiny, but I'll put a few runs of weld in them and then see if they'll press out. Might shrink them a bit. That's both of them bushes out. The reason why one wouldn't go out one way is because like the bush had opened up, the hole is bigger at one side than it is at the other side. So it was, when you stick that on there, you can see the hole is not round. So if I just put a new bush in there, it's just going to split the bush again like it had done with that one. So that needs something doing with it as well. Right, I've ordered a new one of them because I don't think there's not going to be enough metal left around the outside of there by the time I've bored it out to put a sleeve in it to then put a bush in it. A new one is £305, so it's not ridiculous, but I don't want to weld it either and make it weak with it being cast. You might not, might not do it any good welding it, or it might not weld, or it's just, yeah, less risk just putting a new one on, especially when it's your main linkage for your tilt. Right, I'm going to leave that for now though, because it's 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon and I'm not starting that now. I was hoping I'd get this finished this week, but it's just been one of them weeks again. When my lathe, I lost a couple of days with that, sorting that out, and then that headstock, well, it's just been awkward. I lost sort of half a day having to redo that 3 times. That's a waste of time, but anyway, it's right now. So yeah, that is all for this week. I know line boring's not the most interesting thing in the world to watch, but yeah, hope you've still enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.